All right, welcome back, eighth graders. We were finishing up example 3, or we were just starting more so example 3 when you were in part 1 of this lesson. And so what I did is I just broke this down into the 2 different parts. So I took it with my constants as well as my powers. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out what is 1.5 divided by 6. Give me like something like 2.5. Or 0.25, I mean? Yeah. So this is going to be 0.25. And then for this part, I'm going to use those integer rules. Remember, when I'm dividing things with the same base, then that means that I'm going to be subtracting. So I'm going to have negative 8 minus 7. So that's going to give me a negative 15. Because this is a positive 7. Okay, so negative 8 minus a positive 7 gives me negative 15. Now, as you know, we have to write this in scientific notation. And right now, it kind of looks like scientific notation. But the biggest thing usually ends up being this constant. This constant is not a number between 1 and 10. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to move my decimal 1 to the right. So I'm going to have 2.5. Okay. When I move it to the right here, then this means I'm going to have to subtract 1. Okay. So I'm going to have 10 to the negative 16th then. Okay, because I'm going backwards. It's kind of like the opposite direction as of right now on a number line. So this one's going to be to the power of negative 16. Okay. Here's my final answer. All right. Hey, code word. Your code word for today is Chipotle. Totally ate Chipotle for lunch. Let me know what you guys had for lunch. Comment below. Hopefully you had something good. Code word Chipotle. All right. We're already going to go to and on your own here, so I want you to be able to find the product or quotient. Remember, your product is multiplication, your quotient is division. Make sure that you write it in scientific notation, so make sure that that factor is between something that is 1 to 10. Okay, so 1 to 10 as your factor. Your first one, you're just multiplying by the 6. It's not 6 times 10 to something. So you're just taking the 6 times 8, leave your power unless you need to change it because it doesn't fit within this factor realm. Okay? So go ahead, pause the video. I want you to try these on your own. You can go rewind this video, go back, look at your notes, have those out to help you figure it out. When I come back, I will go through the answers and explain how to solve each one. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and go through these answers. So for your first one here, what I did is I take the 6 times the 8, which was 48. The power stays the same, so it's 10 to the negative 5th. Now, it's not written in scientific notation. I need to move the decimal this way, so to the left. When I'm moving it this way to the left, I'm going to add in one more exponent. So I'm adding it by a positive 1. So I take the negative 5 plus 1, which is negative 4. Okay. Same thing kind of goes over here. I take 7 times 3 is 21. When I have my powers, I have to add the exponent, so I get a power of 7. I want to move this decimal back to the left. Usually when we think the left, it's going to be it's for the negative. So I can see where you might get confused and want to subtract something. But in this case, I'm actually going to go ahead and add because it's going to be bigger than this. So I'm going to put the decimal here and I'm going to add that exponent. So again, in this case, when you're rearranging things, anything that's going to go to the left is going to be adding. Anything that's going to the right is going to be subtracting. This might be something that would be worth writing down in your notes so that you understand that. Okay. For number 5, all you have to do is take the 9.2 and divide it by 4.6, which is just 2, and the power still stays as 10 to the 12th. 6, then, I need to take the 1.5, divide by 7.5, and so I have 0.2. With my powers, then, I subtract them, so negative 3 minus 2 would be negative 5. I want to move this decimal 1 to the right, and so like I said, you're going to subtract a power, so I take negative 5 minus 1, so now I have a negative 6 as my power. Okay. So I have 2 times 10 to the negative 6. Again, if you got questions, let me know. Feel free to go back in this video. You can use your IXL now as some extra credit or some extra practice. That would be a good idea too, because I know that IXL gives you step-by-step instructions if you miss it, and they explain the reasoning. Big Ideas also has some of that things as well. Okay, let's keep going. All right, I believe this is our last example. So within this example, here's more of a real life situation where maybe a scientist or someone who's studying the sun and the earth need to know some of these things. So it says, how many times greater is the diameter of the sun than the diameter of earth? Ooh, how many times greater is it? All right, so remember your diameter means that it's going from, oh, let's see if I can get a different color here. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna try and get a different color. If it'll let me. It's being really picky. No, it doesn't want me to pick a different color. So it's going from one side to the other side of your earth, and same with your sun here. Okay, so in this case, I've got one that is written in your scientific notation and the other one that is not. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the sun to scientific notation here. So remember, that means that my decimal is right here, and I'm going to move my decimal over. Because this is a large number, I know this is where it might get tricky. You would think, okay, hey, Miss Wink, you said we are moving this way, so it's going to be positive. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so we're going to move it this way, and that's going to tell me how many times positive I'm going to need to measure it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want it to stay right in there. So it's going to be 1.4 times 10 to the 6th. All right. So how many times greater? How many times greater? Remember, with our multiplication there, that's going to show us how many times greater, but usually when we do something like this, we want to use the opposite of that. So we're going to use division, and then it is greater than the sun, or of the sun than the diameter of Earth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this sun value, 1.4 times 10 to the 6, and we're going to divide then 1.28 times 10 to the 4th. All right, once you have that, the same rules apply as we've done before. So let's see if it'll let me change color now. Yeah, well, maybe it will. It's being so picky. Never mind. All right, so we're going to take those constants and divide those out, and then we're going to take those powers and divide those out. So I'm going to take my calculator here. I'm going to take 1.4 divide by 1.28. Ooh, I get an interesting decimal. I got 1.09375. Now, I believe when we first started talking about your scientific notation, do not simplify the constant or this factor. Do not simplify it. You need every single digit, because if you were going to actually write this out and not scientific notation, you need to have every single digit. Do not simplify it. If you rounded this to just 1, not correct at all. So make sure that you keep every single digit, okay? Then I'm going to go ahead and look at this. So I'm taking a power or a base of 10, so it's still going to say 10, and I'm going to take 6 minus 2. 6 minus 2 then is going to be, or sorry, 6 minus 4. I gave you the answer. I just did it in my head already. 6 minus 4 is 2. That's why I kept saying 2. Woo. So here it is in scientific notation now. It doesn't actually say that it needs to stay in scientific notation or not. So I would, if it's giving me a direction like this, Assume that for the most part they're going to want scientific notation, but if you get the wrong answer, they may want it in regular form too, or standard form, and you can move this over. So what I need to do is I move my decimal 2 to the right, so then it would really be 1.9, oops, sorry, 109.375. So if you ever wanted to know this interesting fact, apparently the sun is 109.375 thousandths times bigger than Earth. If you can imagine multiplying Earth by that and combining them all together, at least the diameter. So in theory, it almost should transfer over if you're finding your circumference as well as your area. That's crazy. It's just a big ball of burning gas, traveling miles and miles. If anyone can tell me what movie that's from, please let me know. I'll give you an extra credit point if you can tell me what movie that's from. I think it goes to the tune. He's like, I thought that there were big balls of gas burning billions and billions of miles away. Tell me what movie that's from. I'll give you an extra credit point for it. All right. So your homework, again, don't worry about this page specifically. Workbook, we're not worried about workbook. Rip it up, burn it. I don't care. IXL, use it as an extra practice tool if you need some extra practice. If you're still struggling, I might even, if you're telling me you're still struggling, I might say, hey, why don't you work on these IXL? Any IXL you get done at this point is going to be our extra credit. So the only assignment, homework-wise, that you will have for big ideas is the 10.7. You have till Sunday to get those done. I believe then for you it will be Sunday the 10th here of May. So make sure you're getting that done. I know you have other things to be doing this week for math, so you still need to be getting ready for taking that test. You've got an online, I can't think of the right word, escape room that I'm going to put up there. So that will be fun to do as practice. And then we'll make sure that you are getting this done, and then your test here is going to be on that Friday. Okay, and make sure to turn the test in on the 11th when the buses come around to pick up your stuff. Otherwise, let me know if you've got questions, comments below. Let me know if you can catch that movie. Hopefully caught your code word around here. So I will see you next time. For the most part, I'm not going to really be uploading any more videos on my own part, though, for you guys. Unless it's really needed. I might do a couple here and there to review some things, but I might just be showing you other videos that people have created online. Because once we're done with this unit, we're going to be moving into doing some different review activities. So listen for directions on what we're going to be doing for those and when it will be assigning for you. And these were based on your survey results on what topics you wanted to get more practice on. Okay. So I will check you in with you guys later. Have a really awesome day. Bye.